What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, August 19th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on odds.com headquarters. A big day awaits us. Yesterday would have been a great day unless if I didn't get a little lazy in NHL. I think those over fives were a little lazy. 3-0 in MLB, one push and one voided bet. 2-1 in NBA. Set myself up for a great day, but I think those 2 over 5s were just a little bit lazy. Still up 1.45 units yesterday. We'll take the winning day, but let's get more. We got Nolly Knows joining us here in a few short minutes. We got a giant MLB card, a big, beautiful NBA playoff and NHL playoff card. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. What is going on? Thank you for joining us. Michael Ervalina in the house. Brotherly hype ready to go. There's Steve Zhang looking for Frankie Cheeks to make an appearance. Viper NB says Dame Dollar. Man, our guy Nilo had Blazers first quarter money line, first half money line, and then in play hedged the Lakers plus 8.5 first half. Man, Nilo was eating last night. Viper, nice call on the Giannis props. Martin Bradstreet ready to go. There's Shy Archie back in business. Brad Hansen. We have missed you, Brad. Great to see you there. Is Top Set ready to get to work? Still having a giant day. Chris N says big NHL day. It certainly is 5 playoff games for me to regroup, get my shit together. Joe Rich waking up early for us. Our new start time, 10 a.m. out east, 7 a.m. out west. Nolly Knows. Coming back from Vegas, ready to work at 7 a.m. Our guy. There's Captain Marvel in the house. Mississippi Kid, Leon ready to go. There is Beach Boss. Oh, poor Beach Boss. Yeah, the Bucks were terrible. It was great. We had Jay Money in our chat yesterday, and he didn't trust the Bucks. And I didn't bet the Bucks. I just had that first half over, which came in, but didn't come in by that much. There's Reese ready to go. Slats 45. Rough night 1-3. Yeah, I didn't help in NHL, Slats. I did not help in NHL last night. Reese says Lakers might get knocked out in the first round. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it's very exciting to see. Very exciting to see. Ostino ready to go. We got Yenny Toon in the house. JR. Slats saying, Rick Tocchet saying some players don't want to be in the bubble after finish the series. The Avs are just a much better hockey team. But do you think Tocchet might have inspired something out of these bums? We'll see. Reese said, I tell Dan on D-backs play, his breakdown convinced me that was too easy. Great job, you guys. Great job. All right, Ick Schnizzle in the house. There's A. Haley, Rye, Kate. We got Buzz Nuts 7, 2, 1. What a great group. I'm ready to go. Tim Montana, ready to go. Beach Boss coming straight from the slums of Shaolin. All right, time to get to work. Brad Hansen, I'm great. All is good over here. Brad Hansen, thoughts on NBA? Anyone like Sixers versus Boston under again? It's the only game that's, of the Intex gave us that trend that was going on in the bubble, that all the totals under 230, a huge percentage of them were going over. That's the only one that didn't go over. There's Birdie in the house ready to go. Johnny Raff says Flyers closing it up today, Jimmy regulation and the under. It was just lazy of me. There's Eric Dorfman, serious business. Brandon Lugo, Anthony Tarango. Love it. Mark is ready to go. We got Shaft in the house. Ricky Bobby ready to go. Dutch Boy Fresh. There we go. Another West Coaster coming out of Vegas. Well, not coast, but coming out of Vegas. 7 a.m. for Dutch Boy Fresh ready to go. Spreadsheet, another winner spreadsheet play today for Ron Crawford is the Yankees. Bob Taylor says he was a big Tocchet fan when he played for the Flyers. I'm still a big Tocchet fan. Von Polo in the house. Will Turpin ready to work. Mr. Wisdom. The time is now. Let's get after it. We're coming off a nice day in MLB. We had the Marlins team total over voided with the pitching change. Pushed on the Mariners at plus, plus 200 here on the show. When I bet it, I almost didn't bet it because It was plus 180 when I had to bet it. And some things went against me with this 10 a.m. start time because the Bet365 first fives aren't out yet. One of the things that went against me yesterday was that Jays Orioles, that I was all over that first five over. I was all over the full game over, but it went from 9.5 when I gave it on the show till 10 when I went to bet it, and I hesitated. I scored 13 runs in that game. We got Toronto, Baltimore, first five over 5.5 easily. We got Brewers, Twins, first five under 5 very easily. We got Cubs, first five -0.5, not that easy. Lucky to get out of bases loaded jam there with no out. But we're looking strong right now in MLB. We're strong, and I like it. 58 wins, 45 losses. We're hitting at 56.3%. We're up 7.07 units. Our ROI is plus 6.86%. Average line minus 112 and creeping up. And I have to say that that's my concern. That's my concern. Rich at Washington, I killed. Nice job with Washington. The Islanders were so much better than them in the first period. And my whole deal was if no Backstrom, no bet. So I stayed off that. Chris Godby wants that cash. Brett Kinney ready to go. Davy Jones shouting out the Bay Area. Bada boom in the house. Let's get to work and bring in our MLB expert, Mr. Nolly Knows, the man who's making unders great again. Nolly, what's happening, my man?
What's going on, Jimmy? Yeah, rise and shine over here on the West Coast. A little tired from the trip still, but it was good, man. We made some money, had some fun with my guys out there. A lot of the low baggers. It was a great time, and it's back to work. Let's get back to work now.
Let's get back to work now. Yeah. Well, we saw you putting in that good hustle in Vegas. It looked like a great time. Saw you guys cashing. Jeffrey Murname in the house. Nilo says, Nolly, is it still dark out? But Connor Mack, 7 a.m. The Vegas cappers are rise and grinding at 7 a.m. Let's get to work right now, Nolly, and I look forward to hammering this MLB card with you. There's Ant L. We knew he was going to have a great day. 5-1-1 yesterday in MLB for our Ant L. Love seeing that. Shout out to Ant L. Ant L. Love it. Dutch Boy Fred says Nolly goes hard. There's Red Girl in the house. Okay, let's get to work right now. We're going to start with Blue Jays Orioles. This game pops off in less than 3 hours. Let me make sure I've got everything set up here, and I do. All right. Here we go. Blue Jays and Rourke opening up at minus 125. There's been a 10-cent move towards the Orioles and Tommy Milone. Couple things that jump out at me right away is that Blue Jays just saw a soft tossing lefty. Obviously, Malone's having a nicer year than LeBlanc, but I don't see why Tommy Milone can't get touched here by the Jays. And Tanner Rourke, his velocity is down, and he's not looked good this year. 9 walks in 12 innings, just 10 Ks, 3 home runs allowed, 6.00 ERA, 77 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 3 miles per hour in. The Jays 7-6 on the road, playing in Camden. Well, Orioles are 12-11, but just 4-8 at home. Jays versus lefties, 264, 723 OPS. That batting average continues to rise against lefties, but not a ton of power. Orioles versus righties, 256, 767 OPS. Jays bullpen good, 3.44 ERA, 1.31 WHIP. Orioles bullpen better than we expected, 4.21 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Toronto scored 15 runs in this last 2 wins. They're going for the sweep today. Baltimore's lost 3 straight, 4 or 5. Grichuk has stepped up in a big way. Rourke has not pitched past 5 innings. Malone 5.21 ERA, a career 3 starts versus the Jays. The Orioles lose Jose Iglesias, and Rourke 6.88 ERA in 4 games against the Orioles. All this to me adds up to a first 5 over, but I've yet to bet anything because I was trying to make sure I was completely prepped for the show, and I couldn't wait. I don't know. I'm going to check out right now and see if these first 5s are up at Bet365. Let's see. Are they up? Yes, they are. They're now up. God, that's annoying. First 5 over is what I'm looking at. Nolly, are you making a move on Jays Orioles this afternoon game?
Yeah, I'm looking at this game. I'm going back and forth right now. Tanner Rourke, yeah, like you said, hasn't looked good. We say a term in MLB and baseball, this guy needs a map and a flashlight because he can't find the strike zone. His walk to strikeout ratio has been horrendous, especially in the last 2 games. 5 strikeouts and 9 walks. Not looking good right now. Not a guy that I'm going to be backing. And going against, you said it, Malone. And Malone's actually having a decent season this year, and his K to walk ratio is actually looking really good. 13-0 over the last 3 starts, and a guy that maybe looked to back a little bit more, but like not in this ballpark. This ballpark seems to produce a lot of runs, and being the fact that over there with Baltimore, they lost Iglesias, and that's a big blow. He's hitting really well over there for them, and a big veteran for that lineup. Here, looking at this game, I'm not sure how to attack it, but I'm not trusting. I'm definitely not trusting Tanner Rourke. I think he gets lit up here again. Whether or not Malone does, I'm not too sure, and that's the big question mark. I would lean the Orioles first 5 here, but I'm off this game.
I would slightly lean the. So, how do you feel an offense handles the second straight day of a soft tossing lefty? Don't you think that helps a little bit when you get to see 2 slow throwing lefties back to back?
I would. I mean, I would have to agree with that. I mean, that's.
All right, we're having some internet issues over from Nolly's side of things. Let me just try pulling him out and bringing him back in here. Let's try pulling him out and bringing him back in. And all right, we never have issues with your home internet, but it seems like something's up right now. Adam Ray says the show is too early for Nolly's internet. Let's pull him out again. All right, let's get him back in here. Let's get this going. There we go. All right, let's just see if we can if it just gets its act together. Okay, Noah's going to try to jump back on here quickly and fix that internet. First 5 over seems like the spot here. The question is, can Tommy Milone continue this impressive start to the year? You guys remember 2 starts back, he was going up against the Nationals, who have a 1.0 something OPS versus lefties. I mean, they're just smashing lefties. And I was all bullish about how the Nats were going to get to Milone. They're going to beat up on Milone. And Milone through them was incredible. Milone shut them completely down. And Joe Yurkovich came in the chat and was like, watch this. Don't get so bullish on Milone getting touched. Looks like our Nolly Knows is back in action. Nolly, how are you, man?
Doing well. Jimmy had to switch up the little system. Are we better now?
Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so I guess Bet365, there's a reason why the woman who runs it is, top 10 richest women in the world. They don't give out first 5 team totals because you can win on them. I think the most my preferred situation would be Tanner Rourke getting touched, would be Orioles first 5 team total over. But I can't bet that. So I think there will continue to be runs in this series, and I'm going to take the first. But look at that full game total has gone from 10 to 9.5. I think maybe this might be one of those plays that's screaming at you, and might be off. Nolly, do you feel like, I don't have statistical backing for this, but do you feel like these first early games in the afternoon after back-to-back night games, the bats can be sleepy?
Not really an angle that I look to attack. I more so look at the pitching and look how they've been hitting. If these guys are on the roll, they're going to continue to roll. If they're slumping, they continue to slump. The day and night thing is not something that I take into account. For starters, that's something that day-night split might be something that you take into account. But it's for hitters, I don't really like it. I want to try to keep it simple. I don't want to try to incorporate too many things. But my thing here is with Tommy Milone, he's possible to have a good start. And that's the one thing where if you're looking at the over, that's the one box that I think doesn't really check out. But like you said, hitting that slow lefty back-to-back does give them a better opportunity, especially the same style. I like it. I like the move. But it's just over, not something I'm messing with right now.
I'm going to take the first 5 over 5.5 if I get it at minus 115. So again, the way we're doing it this year is I have to make the bet, and that happens after the show. And we're not line shopping for the best possible line and putting it in here. I need it to be something that's actually bet and that's actually legitimate. So we put that out on Twitter afterwards. So if I get over 5.5 and minus 115, I'm going to pull the trigger. That's what it's at right now. If it becomes minus 120 or minus 125, I'm going to stay off. Leo Leon says good start from Malone. It's 4 earned runs. He's just gotten off to a much better start than I expected. We're spending too much time on this afternoon game. There's Guillermo Zertucci in the house. Brian Warner, Noah Manion. Let's get to work and keep going. Carter Max says should be runs here. Let's move on to game 2. This is another spot where I think that there will be offense. Jake Arrieta going up against Kyle Hart. Jake Arrieta said his elbow's not a concern anymore. He got off to that nice start, but lately he's been getting touched. Phillies 9-9. Red Sox 6-18 have lost 9 straight, to being outscored 86-41 during this losing streak. Kyle Hart tagged for 7 runs, 5 earned runs, and 2+ in his major league debut last time out. I imagine that he could be better. With these, and there's at Young Chillionaire in the house. Sorry, we got to stop everything. At Young Chillionaire yesterday at 4:20 p.m. 4:20 had a baby son named Maverick, and at Young Chillionaire the next day is ready to cap. But congratulations at Young Chillionaire. Congratulations. Very, very, very wonderful news. Maverick born yesterday. Same day as my daughter's birthday. Young Chillionaire, 420 baby. I love it. Phillies, Red Sox, both of these spots are screaming to me over, and I don't want to. Maybe I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to simplify things too much. I did that yesterday in hockey, even though those were against the trend. So maybe this is a completely different situation. Phillies versus righties, 266, 792 OPS. Red Sox versus righties, 241, 709 OPS. No power and just a disappointing ball club. Phillies bullpen, as we know, absolute trash. Same with the Red Sox. Phillies won 4 straight. Their offense, 17 homers in the last 18 games. Arrieta did not look good last out. Do we keep fading the Red Sox? Do we go with overs? Nolly knows how are you handling this spot. Phillies, Red Sox.
Right away, Jimmy, when I looked at this game, I thought you would be on the Phillies here. Facing a lefty here, lefty that they hit a little bit better than righties when you look at their splits, slightly better. And you got a guy in Hart that didn't look good in his first start. The guy that doesn't have great pitching. This is a guy that has below average pitching for pretty much all of his pitches, and a guy that relies on location to hit to pitch well. And he didn't look good in his first start. A guy that I'm really not trusting, especially the way that these Phillies are rolling right now, especially leading the Chargers, Bryce Harper, who you kind of need to hit. If he doesn't get going, the lineup really struggles, and they're hot right now, and that's a train I'm definitely not getting in front of. On the other side, you got Arrieta, and yeah, you look at his last start, he ended up giving up 4 runs against Baltimore, but if you look, most of those all of those runs came in the 5th inning. He was shutting them out up until that point, and I really like the way Arrieta has pitched up until this point. Looking at this game, the way that Boston has been playing, they don't seem to be able to find a way to win games. They get leads early. They have done it in multiple games, something that Bogarts alluded to, and they just can't seem to finish it. And why that bullpen? That bullpen is giving it up. Something that I don't trust in this team, and losing is contagious just as winning is, and they're having a tough time over there. And when I hear the quotes, when they talk about Hart, it doesn't sound really convincing to me. It's kind of just giving him another opportunity to show that he's not going to get yanked right away. Didn't mention anything that I expect him to do better, or not the guy that we expected. Nothing of the sort. Just saying we're going to give him another shot. Not very convincing to me. And the way I'm looking at this game is I might be attacking the Phillies on the run line. I think they keep that ball rolling, and I think they come out and smash these Red Sox.
Kyle Hart's a journeyman. Anyways, 27-year-old journeyman. It's not like because we've been seeing a lot of studs, and we get to see Casey Mize today. Young pitchers coming up. This is not one of them. DX5 says Red Sox are as gutless as they come, easiest bet against in the league. Yeah, so I guess there's a chance. So there's a nice point by Nolly saying that Arrieta allowed all those runs in that one inning against the Orioles, that 5th inning. I think that maybe taking these overs is a mistake. I'm happy to talk it out. And then we just backed the Phillies to smash lefties. And thank you for Nolly mentioning that Kyle Hart is a lefty. For some reason, I had the Phillies versus righties stats up. And we know that they have so much power against lefties. It's got to be first 5 full game. Viper says Arrieta will bounce back. So first 5 -0.5 and full game -1 just feels like it's got to be the move. Now, I mean, the one thing that does concern me here is that with the way Boston's playing, with Kyle Hart on the mound, the way the Phillies are playing, winning 4 straight, why aren't the Phillies -180?
Yeah, definitely a concern, I guess, for some, but I don't really worry about that, Jimmy. I see a good price. I see it. I think it's off, and that's where I go. I don't let the line, whether the movement or where they set it, affect my opinion. I'm gonna whether I like the number, I'll take it. If I don't, I'll lay off. That's kind of how I adjust because I don't like going back and forth. I don't want it to be talked off a play. It wins, and I'm like, oh, I should have did it. And then I jump back on next time and it loses. Try to stick to my strategies.
Right where says the number says dog. I mean, I stayed off it yesterday. We had some great cappers in the chat. One gas station sushi was max betting the Red Sox, which kept me off of the Phillies. Princess City says because it's a Philly team. Brian Warner on Philly team total over. Philly first 5 -1. Philly run line -1.5. Wow. Okay, and there's Kevin Linebeer in the house. Great to see you, Kev. Okay, let's keep rolling right now. Let's move on to Cardinals Cubs. Game 1 of the double dip. Do we have a line? Let's see if make sure we have a line for the first one. Some books have come out with lines. Let's go full game. So now remember, it's a 7-inning start, so only a few books have come out because we're not sure. We don't know who's pitching in game 2, first of all. But we expect Flaherty versus Alec Mills, although the Cubs could move Alec Mills to the second game and go with a bullpen spot. Depending on your edge and angle in this game, you may want to make sure that the listed pitchers must start. Cardinals 5 and 6. What a tough spot they're in with all these doubleheaders. You're going to have 3 doubleheaders in 5 days. 75 Fahrenheit clear, 8 miles per hour in Flaherty, 2.57 ERA, 0.86 whip, but just, one start, 7 innings under his belt. Alec Mills, 2-1, 2.84 ERA, 0.84 whip. He's looked good. His off-speed stuff is working. Cardinals have nothing, no power against righties, 229, 691 OPS. Cubs versus righties hit him pretty well, 238, 777 OPS. Cardinals bullpen much better than the Cubs bullpen, but the Cubs bullpen is improving, and they're now, trying to figure out who their closer is going to be. Cardinals third doubleheader in 5 days. Flaherty 2.7 ERA in 10 games against the Cubs. Chris Bryant out of the lineup. Mills great numbers against the Cardinals. Are you making a move here in the 7-inning doubleheader, Nolly?
When I look at this game and I see the 7-inning bull crap, it pisses me off. This is a game that, I'd love to have some action on in the first 5 innings, and the fact that they're not really giving me that. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, and then you're going to be having to get probably like a 6 in the full game. This is something that just really ticks me off because this is a matchup that I was all over when I saw it. Jake Flaherty, hands down the best pitcher in baseball the second half of the season last year. Pitcher of the month in both August and September. Finished 4th in Cy Young. And this guy's just 24 years old. He looked really, really good last year, and I expect him to continue his dominance going into this year. And on the other side, you got Alex Mills, a guy that never really expected – no one expected him to have the success he did in the minor leagues. A very crafty guy, just like the last pitcher we discussed. But this guy has a couple pitches that are above average. And the big thing is he changed his curveball up last year, changed a different grip, and it's a much slower curveball. On average, it's the slowest curveball in baseball. There are other guys that will throw 1 or 2 Ephus-style pitches like Greinke and other guys, and also Kershaw. But on average, he has the slowest, and he's looked really good. I really like the way he's looked coming out here against this teams. And you look at Flaherty, the success he's had against the Cubs. He's been able to shut them down in 6 starts last year. He had over 40 strikeouts in just 39 innings. He looked really good. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a move here, but the only way is I'm looking under with these pitchers here.
Yeah, the total is at 6, but one book is hanging a 6.5. Huh. Interesting. And then you make sure that listed pitchers must start because you don't want this to turn into a Cubs bullpen day instead of having Alec Mills. Is that right? You'd much prefer Alec Mills than a Cubs bullpen day, Nolly?
Oh yeah, I'm not touching that bullpen. I mean, don't get it wrong though, because you look at those numbers in that bullpen, they are inflated from the short sample size early in the season. They aren't as bad, but still not a bullpen that I like. And from what I understand, most books have gone back to listed pitchers. I know all my books have, and that's definitely something that I always play is listed pitchers. Never action for me.
I agree. Same here. And regardless of, because so far this year I would be up a tiny bit, but I would be up units if I had just gone action. Green Tongue Man says, how about the pitcher for Philly over 3.5 strikeouts? TJ has his K model liking area, the over 4K. So TJ agrees with that. There's Gio Mercedes in the house. Mark Rosado ready to get to work. So yeah, I think this under makes sense. 8 miles per hour in is the weather. Listed pitchers must start. This will be my first bet on a doubleheader this year, but I think I'm go under.
Quick question: do you have a number for Flaherty's strikeouts?
Let's see here.
I don't think so.
No. Wow. You know what? I take this back. This isn't even up. Oh, because it's not. I said it wasn't up on all books. Bet365 doesn't even have this book up yet. Or sorry, this game up on the book. So no, I don't have anything there. So we're gonna skip game 2 of the Cardinals Cubs doubleheader. We don't know who's going to be on the mound for either squad right now. Let's go to another doubleheader where we do know who's on the mound. Let me make sure that's confirmed here. And it is Castillo Keller. We thought this game was going to be yesterday. It's going to be today. Carlos Jetton in the house. Jojo Rich says I can't get around 7 innings. Jimmy, I'm usually off. I usually lay off. Yeah, I get it. And Bada Boom does have a look. Flaherty strikeouts over 6, and Joe Rich has 6 as well. Does that appeal to you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you look at the Cubs; they're one of the worst strikeouts per games. They're averaging about 11 strikeouts per game over the last 3 games, and Flaherty's been dealing against them. He somewhat owns this team. 6 is something I'd have to look into a little bit more. I think the 7-inning factor is kind of coming into my head, but it really shouldn't because I wouldn't expect him to go 7. I'm expecting quality starts. I'm expecting just 6. It is appealing to me. I'm gonna have to take a closer look though.
Sportsman of the Year in the house. C-Max says, wish it was 5.5. Could get over the 6. So Ryan Kozlowski says, I have to give Keller a shot today at plus 173. Game 1 of the double dip Reds Royals. Let's see what we are dealing with from an odds perspective. This total is all over the board. There's 6.5s, there's 7s, there's 7.5s. And and even this money line total is all over the board. Wow, yeah, Castillo's moved up to minus 180 at Bet365. Joseph Gomez says, early show coffee still kicking in. Let's get to work. Joseph, my man. Castillo, it's not looked great this year, but we know he's got spectacular stuff. 3.91 ERA, 1.43 whip. Reds are sitting at 9 and 11. Royals are at 9 and 14. 81 Fahrenheit clear, 7 miles per hour in. Keller has looked like an ace since getting back from his COVID IL stint. Reds versus righties, 216, 744 OPS. Royals versus righties, 239, 720 OPS. Neither team has much power against righties. Reds' bullpen has been atrocious, but it should improve. We didn't expect it to be this bad. The Royals' bullpen's been very good. 3.56 ERA, 1.38 whip. Reds have a better whip than the Royals. It's just that they're letting too many long balls. Both pitchers will be starting against the same opponent as they did in their last starts in Cincinnati last week, and that always throws me a curveball that I have difficulty with. And yesterday, in a 9-inning game, I was thinking of taking the first 5 under. Now that it's a 7-inning game, I'm not sure what to do. Viper MB says Reds minus 136 on FanDuel. Yeah, Viper, there's a 50 cent difference in some books on this game. It's so important where you shop for this spot. Cardinals 3-2 coming back from a 17-day absence. And last week, Castillo, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 6 innings, walking 2, struck out 5 and took the no decision. Keller pitched 6 scoreless against Cincinnati on Cincinnati in the Kansas City victory August 12th. Nolly Knows game 1 of the double dip Reds Royals. You making a move?
Another game that really ticks me off again. 2 pitchers that no secret I really am a fan of, especially in Luis Castillo. Castillo, like you said, his numbers haven't looked that dominant, but his stuff is really looking good though. He hasn't been able to put away batters, and that's been the one thing that you see his numbers climb up a little bit. And then Keller's been lights out. There was some doubts because he came into camp late after the COVID test, but he's looked phenomenal. To me, the big thing is he's not looking to try to create too many strikeouts. I thought that was the big thing with him last year. Try to be a little bit too dominant, getting back to what he did more so in 2018. But the one thing that you raised, the big concern here is the fact that both these guys had just seen these teams, and especially when you look at Castillo, he did the same thing against Detroit, was able to shut them down the first time around, sees them less than a week later in his next start, and got touched up a little bit. That's the one game that escalated his ERA, and that's one cause for concern. Nonetheless, here, if I was able to get a first 5 out of 4, I would have taken it. Being that it's a full game, I'm not sure how to attack it. That's why I get really mad about all this stuff. That's really messing with some of my pockets, I guess. But yeah, this game I'm going to stay off completely. I'm not sure what to expect, being that it's back-to-back starts, so I'm just going to lay off.
Understandable. Yeah, the 7-inning twists and turns. Game 2 has Trevor Bauer going up against Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey, we haven't seen him making a season debut last year. 7.09 ERA, 1.54 WHIP, and going up against Bauer, who has looked incredible, absolutely spectacular so far this year. 32 Ks, 19 and a third, 0.93 ERA. 0.57 WHIP. Mitch Bruner in the house. Great to see. We got Billy Bloodbath here rolling with us. What is your expectation of Matt Harvey in this start?
Yeah, definitely not a guy that I'm going to be looking to back after signing a minor league contract, kind of getting thrusted in there because of the situation. So not a guy that I'm going to be trusting here in this spot. And more so in this spot, I might be looking at the Bauer strikeout prop over. I'm not sure if you guys follow him on Twitter, but he's taking on a challenge of trying to get 14 strikeouts over his next 2 starts to break the record that Sonny Gray had just set over his first 5 starts as a Cincinnati Red. He took that challenge on from Budweiser. And if he reaches that, they're going to be making a special can, the Cincinnati Buds, Budweiser edition. So I might be looking at that. It's something that he's going to be chasing for sure.
Well, you know what? It looks like they might even be moving Bauer to tomorrow so that he has a full 9-inning game to accomplish that. I don't even know if he is going to be starting anymore here. Wow. So let me just.
Do you see that?
Yeah. I don't know if he is. Okay, they still have Bauer up at Bet365. Interesting. Okay, so there's some sites coming up saying that Bauer is not going to be starting today. So again, let's just get past these double headers, man. What a mess. Get confirmation and make sure that you have listed pitchers must start, because Bauer versus Harvey seems like a very simple spot, but let's wait on that. Okay, let's move on to games we know that are happening in 9 innings. Nationals, Braves, 81 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour, sideways. Let's see what we are dealing with here. It opened up as a pick 'em. There's been a 20-cent move towards these Braves. This total opened up at 10 and is now 10.5. Kyle Wright taking money. 0-3, 7.20 ERA, 2.20 WHIP. Nats versus righties, 246.98 OPS. Braves versus righties, they hit them hard, even with Acuna and Albies out of the lineup. 273, 820 OPS. Nats bullpen, 4.13 ERA, 1.35 WHIP. Braves bullpen being good this year, 3.51 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. And Fetty keeps getting opportunities and doing little with them. First round pick, 2014, out of UNLV, and even here he's got a 2.55 ERA, but 1.53 WHIP. He has 5 Ks and 17 2/3, 5 Ks and 9 walks. I mean, Fetty's just not to be trusted. At least the gambling market is saying that. Nationals 5-4 on their 10-game road trip. This is the last game of their 10-game road trip, and that's sometimes a tricky time to bet on a team. Wright was the 5th overall pick in 2017 out of Vandy, and he's looked poor. 15 innings this season, 17 hits, and 16 walks. Markakis placed on the potentially exposed to COVID list, so he's going to be out as well. This is tricky. Nationals, Braves. Noel, you making a move?
Yeah, when I look at this game, like you said, he's looked really good to start, and but those are not his numbers. I expect big regression from him, and especially going against a lineup that seemed to have woken up here coming back home in Atlanta. The bats went cold over there in Miami. They like to be home. A little humidity helps the ball fly a little bit, contrary to a lot of people's belief. But yeah, I don't trust Fed. I don't like those numbers because it screams regression to me. And on the other side, Kyle Wright, guy that we discussed last time on the show, a guy that doesn't look to have it. He looks overmatched here every time in and time out, every time he goes out on the mound. And a guy that they're not sure who they have. He's shown that he might not be that great. He might not be maybe not even a number 5. Maybe he's a 4A player, guy too good for the minors, not good enough for the majors. And I don't like what I see out of here. The way I was looking maybe Nationals, but when I look at it, Fetty's numbers overall, like I said, the regression is coming. I'm actually looking maybe to take an over here. I see runs galore here. I see them early and often.
You know, something I'm Kyle Wright is a question mark for me, but something that I've noticed with Fetty this year, last year, is that when he doesn't expect to start, when it's a spot start, he finds out when he gets to the park or when he comes in like he did last out right after Strasburg went like a third of an inning, he looks very good. But when he knows he's starting and he's got a few days to get in his head, he has shit starts and he's not to be trusted. And Kyle Wright's overthinking everything. My only issue is that you take Markakis out of this lineup, so you have Acuna, Albies, Markakis out of this lineup. Are they still going to be able to hit for you? The first 5 is at 6. That's just a little too high for me to need 7 runs to cash. I'm going to stay off. Nationals, Braves. Too many question marks there for me. Let's move on to Rays, Yankees. This is an exciting matchup. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Tyler Glasnow, Nolly. Rays are rolling. They're 15-9 up against this Yankees team, 16-7, who just had their first loss at Yankee Stadium, although they are 10-2 at home, but the only one loss at Yankee Stadium. Glasnow being touched, 15 in the third, 10 walks, 1.76 whip, 7.04 ERA, but 27 Ks in those 15 and third. And what can we say about Garrett Cole? I mean, 20-0, 1.94 ERA, last 27 starts. Firpo Marbury is who he's tied with for the 4th longest in Major League history, unbeaten streak. That was in 1930-31. He's just rolling. He's absolutely rolling. August 8th against the Rays, Cole allowed 1 run on 4 hits in 7 innings while getting 8 strikeouts. 107 pitches in his last start against Tampa. He's 0-2, 3.86 ERA, and 5 career starts against them. But Rays are 9-1 in their last 10. They're playing very good baseball. But what do we do with Glasnow? 5.68 ERA, 3 career starts against the Yankees. He went up against Cole August 8th and got touched for 4 runs, 5 hits, and 2 2/3. What are you doing with Glasnow, and are you making a move on this game, Nolly?
When I initially look at this game, it's no secret I like these pitchers a lot. Glasnow hasn't been getting the production that we saw last year. His stuff still looks very filthy, but just hasn't been able to command the strike zone the way he was last year. If he's able to command a little bit, get ahead of batters, then be able to bury that big curveball into the dirt, that's what's been getting him the strikeouts, and that's been the concern here, especially against the Yankees, where he's had 2 short outings against the Yankees, and they've been able to get to him. That's a big concern for me, especially the lineup that just keeps on rolling. You know, they lose another guy in LeMahieu, and he just keeps on rolling. There's no doubt that he can come out and dominate. He does have the stuff to do it, but the fact that he's never been able to do it against this Yankee lineup is something that's a concern for me. On the other side, Cole, there's nothing I have to say about him. Just mention his name. Everybody should know. One of the best pitchers here in the American League. There's actually another guy that's flying under the radar better. But this guy, with the amount of starts without losing, it's kind of tough to go against that, especially here at home. He looks to be getting better. He feels more comfortable with his fastball. Even on the start before that, they questioned him because he wasn't able to go deep. But he just wasn't able to get the outs when he wanted to, and he had to get strikeouts. And that's something he doesn't like to do anymore. He likes to save his arm, go deeper into games, get those weak ground ball hits. The only way I look to do is maybe back Cole, but I'm not doing that here. I don't really back the Yankees too much. In this game, I'm probably just going to enjoy it as a fan. I do expect maybe Glasnow to have a better outing this time out, but something that I just really can't trust right now.
Can't trust him. And you have to start thinking maybe this is a spot to back the Yankees, but I guess it's also dangerous going up against a 9-1 team. But I mean, are we getting value with the pitcher who's got a 27-game unbeaten streak that you're only having to pay minus 180 or 185? And if you take the home team at the -1, let's just see what that is, because you get it's tougher, but you get the more value on that. If you take that on the -1 here, you're getting plus 100 on the 1.5, minus 185. So you're getting like a minus 140. Is that value on Cole? It feels like that's value for Garrett Cole.
I guess you could say that, but this is a team in the Rays they're rolling right now. And if you're looking full game, that kind of changes a little bit. I'd say more so value would be first 5. going against Glasnow, I guess that would be the more so the advantage. But I mean, I would assume, but not really the angles. That's not my angle, So I'm just gonna watch this game.
I think that Cole is getting better as the season goes on. And Glasnow always has problems here against this lineup, and we're getting value because the Yankees are missing all these pieces. Let's just see what you get on the Cole first 5 here very, very quickly. If you took the minus a run, or minus a half, excuse me, on the first 5, we got Gas Station Sushi rolling with us. Minus a half is minus 130 with Garrett Cole on the mound. I'm taking it. I'm taking it. And I don't even think I need to worry about I think you can double up here. I think Glasnow is pitching poorly, and the Rays are 9-1. You're getting this enormous, I think, value on Garrett Cole right now because of the injuries with the Yankees, because the Rays are 9-1. I'm going to double up on the Yankees, and I haven't bet on the Yankees very often this year because I don't see value. And this time I see enormous value with the injuries and the Rays on this winning streak. I'm doubling up here on the Yankees first 5 and full game. We'll see if that we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's go. Indians Pirates is the next up for Nolly and I. Savali versus Stephen Brawl. Savali's not looked very good of late. Indians open up at minus 170. They're now minus 185. 15-cent move towards them. This total was at 9. It's now moved to 8.5. There's a couple books that are still hanging the 9. 77 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour sideways. Savali 3.60 ERA, 1.12 whip. Look, I guess I'm being a little harsh on him. 26 Ks, 3 walks. He gave up 8 hits and 4 runs with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk in 6 innings against Detroit last out. And I guess maybe that's in my head. Cleveland, by the way, 11-0 when scoring at least 3 runs. Their pitching staff has been so good. Their bullpen is so good. And entering this series, these two teams have the lowest team batting average in the league. Brault keeps getting his starts pushed back because of COVID concerns and COVID issues. Indians, Pirates. Is there a move that you're making here, Noli?
Right away, you look at Savali, and I mean, yeah, you look at his last start, gave up 400 runs, and he didn't really have it. But prior to that, he looked really good, especially, he saw Chicago White Sox, not necessarily back-to-back outings, but within 10 days, and was able to dominate that lineup. And we see what that lineup can do, especially in the last few days. Tim Anderson is on a tear, and he was able to shut that team down. I think Savali has looked really good in his short stint in his career here in the MLB from last year and this year. I like the guy. I like what he has. Not going to be an over-dominant pitcher, but he has good stuff, and he's looked really good. On the other side, you got Stephen Brault, who in this year, he started a couple games, but not really as a starter, as a tandem starter. But this time, they let him go, especially with Chad Kuhl. That was his guy that would back him up. And Chad Kuhl already made his start. Now it's Brault's turn. 2 guys that are coming off an injury that someone have a lot to prove, and he looked a lot better as of late. He did give it up against Detroit, gave up 4 earned runs, his only runs given up, but wasn't able to get out of the first inning in that game. Other than that, he's looked good, but still a lot of question marks, but I expect the guy to come out and look good against Cleveland. You look at Cleveland, they look dead last in a lot of categories, but they're hitting the ball real well right now. They got a couple guys that are tearing it up, and they really rely on 3-4 guys. That's the main thing. But here in this game, I wasn't sure how to attack it, but I'm getting more and more convinced that Savali's going to come out and have a good game, especially being that the Pirates are getting pushed back in some of these games. And Brault, I expect him to give me 3-4 really good innings, and I'm looking to attack the first 5 under here.
First 5 under. Let's see what we are getting. Brandon Lugo also on this same spot. Indians versus lefties, 208, 640 OPS. Pirates versus righties, 194, 560 OPS. Absolutely atrocious. First 5 total here. You're getting 5. Oh, there's 5s are going away. 4.5s on the board right now. Lillian Pumpernickel says, when we talk in NHL, game starts in an hour. Don't worry, Lillian, we'll get to it. Don't worry, we will attack that game. It doesn't start in an hour, right? It starts in 2 hours. Doesn't it, or does it start? Let me just double check this, make sure I'm not gonna. What the hell is it? Sorry, I don't mean to panic. I'll take a look and say. I thought the game starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. Does it start at 12 Eastern?
Yes, 12.
The hockey game?
Yes.
Damn it. That shoot. That's gonna Damn. I want to get in on the Jackets.
Oh, just bet the under. Next.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for mentioning that because I am going to get in on the Blue Jackets here. Okay, Indian Pirates, are you going to be able to get that 5? Viper says Jimmy's panicking already. Are you going to be able to get that 5?
I'm not sure what I have in my books. I'd have to take a look. I haven't been able to make moves on some of these because they weren't out yet.
Yeah,
They were lagging today.
All right, we got Max Betts from Gas Station Sushi on the Marlins and Mariners. We also have DJ Big Boss in the house. Christopher Comatini, yes, I'm going to be on the Jackets money line today. They outshot the Lightning 29-22 in the last game. That third line from the Lightning stepped up in an enormous way. We've seen what's happened when the Jackets face resiliency. Look, I'm not bullish about it, and you're getting plus 155 for it. Okay, let's move on to Mets Marlins. We have a first look from Nolly, a first 5 under in Indians Pirates. Let's talk Mets Marlins. I'm expecting the roof to be closed. DeGrom versus Lopez. DeGrom 2-0, 2.45 ERA, 0.95 WHIP, 28 Ks, 5 walks in 22 innings. He had the finger issue, and then he was supposed to start last week, and then he had back issues, which pulled him out of the start. And then we have Pablo Lopez and his very dangerous changeup and how good he is at home. Mets bullpen 4.42 ERA, Marlins bullpen 4.95 ERA. Not very strong. This might be that perfect Nolly Knows first 5 situation. If he trusts DeGrom off of the back injury and after missing a start and getting taken out early from a finger issue, because we just saw what happened when Frankie Montas coming back from his back injury. He got lit up. Batters are hitting 174 against Lopez's changeup. He's rolling right now, and we know what Lopez does at home. He's a career 3.48 ERA. On the road, 5.96 ERA. Lopez last start was the home opener for the Marlins, and he shut down a dangerous Braves offense. Let's see what we are dealing with here from a market perspective. This first 5 team totals at 3.5. Man, 3.5. And DeGrom opens up at minus 260. He's now minus 235 at 25-cent move towards the Miami Marlins full game total at 7.5. Nolly, you making a move here?
All right, here we got my guy, Jacob DeGrom. I say my guy because he made a lot of money with this guy over the years. Flat out stud. And last time out, we had a concern over the blister, and it ends up being a back issue, but something that I'm not really too concerned about. Something that they looked as a precautionary thing. And when you listen to Luis Rojas, the Mets manager, when he talks about the bullpen session that he had, and he said he looked really good. He has no concerns with him, no restrictions. The guy's going to go out there and perform. And this is a guy that I'm looking to back time in and time out. There's no reason not to. This guy should have been an MVP in 2018. In 2019, it wins the Cy Young, and this guy's just flat out dominant. Here against Miami in 2019, he started 6 games, went 5-1 with a 2.37 ERA. In 38 innings pitched, he had 46 strikeouts and just 7 walks. He holds his team to a 213 batting average, so you can say he somewhat owns this team. And then a team that's really not hitting very well. They're last in a lot of categories as far as producing runs. They're 28th in home runs. They're 29th in total runs, and they're 24th in slugging percentage. So a team in the Miami Marlins that aren't putting up a lot of runs. And here they got what I consider to be their ace now, Lopez. Some that even Mattingly said comes into the season, maybe being a 4, but now he's looking more like the guy to take over the staff. And you look at his numbers against Miami, they don't look very impressive. But if you look a little closer, it was 1 start. He starts in May 10th, gives up 10 hits and 10 runs in just 3 1/3, but comes right back in his next start on May 18th and goes 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, and 2 walks. And this is a team that he's seen once already and was able to hold him down. He went 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, and 2 earned runs on August 9th. And I expect him to come out and have a strong outing in a ballpark that's not seeing too many runs early And you said it, Jamie. I'm on the first 5 under 3.5. I'm not afraid of that, and you got to drop the purse sometimes and just let it ride.
Drop the purse and let it ride. 3.5 under in Mets Marlins. That's exciting. That is an exciting bet. I'm going to not make it. I want to see DeGrom come back from the back injury and see how he does with the finger injury behind him. But man, that's an exciting look. Okay, let's keep rolling along here. We got a lot of games still to go through. Tigers, White Sox, 75 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour. In is the win, and we get to see these first-round draft picks squaring off against each other, Mize and Dunning. Well, they're both first-round draft picks, but one is a first overall draft pick, and that is Casey Mize. Let's see what we are dealing with here. The Dunning opens up with the White Sox at -160, and he's still there. This total hasn't moved either, under 9 at -115. So Casey Mize last year in high A, Lakeland, double A, Erie, 8-3, 2.55 ERA, 0.94 WHIP, 109 in the third, 106 Ks, 23 walks, and he looks very, very good in the 2 different spring trainings that they had this year. And going up against Dane Dunning, injured last year. We don't have his numbers since 2018 when he was high A Winston-Salem, double A Birmingham, and he looked very good. 2.71 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. The White Sox have won 3 in a row and 5 of 7. Dunning, the 29th overall pick in the 2016 draft. And the Tigers don't hit righties. Are you surprised that Dunning is the -160 favorite in this spot, Nolly?
A bit surprised, yeah. I think there's a discrepancy in the pitching. I do believe in Dunning. Don't get me wrong, but I think that line is more so when you look at the way the offense is going off for these White Sox. I think that's more so with the indication of the line. Maybe if you say there's an unknown between these pitchers, that line is more so saying that's the 162 is discrepancy in how these bats have been hitting. Because when you look at these pitchers, Mize is definitely the guy with the higher ceiling. This is a guy that's got 3 off-speed pitches that are above average, and depending on what scout you ask, they'll tell you that his out pitch, which is considered his best go-to pitch on an 0-2, 1-2 count, they'll say that it's different pitches. It's his slider, it's his changeup. So just an indication of how good his stuff really is. There's a very high ceiling with these number 1 picks. These number 1 picks pretty much pan out. There's a lot of these guys just do. This is a high risk for these guys coming out for the major leagues, and they do their due diligence. So in order to take a guy, the number 1, I expect big things from him. He's only been in the minor leagues for 2 years, and so I expect a really good start out of him. And then on the other side, Dane Dunning is a guy that would have been in the major leagues last year, except the injury. You know, coming off of Tommy John, and he looks really healthy. They're saying all the right things about him. The one thing, though, the concern is that I don't expect him to really go deep into the game. That's something that you always see with Tommy John, with the Tommy John guys. But I expect both these guys to come out and pitch really well. For Detroit, they really haven't been hitting the ball at all. And Chicago White Sox have. And it's something that I always say is that good pitching beats good hitting. So I expect the White Sox to struggle here, and I expect Detroit to continue to struggle. And the way I'm attacking this is attacking the first 5 under here. I expect to have value, being that this is the first time out for both of these guys. Especially Mize. I expect this guy to hit the scene rolling.
Yeah, I think Mize will hit the scene rolling as well. I really do. And I don't, we're talking about 2 possible elite pitchers in the future, especially Mize. And I can understand the first 5 under 5 for sure, but I think that my best angle here is just the first 5 on the Tigers, saying that Mize will be better. I'm going to get a +115 there, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Casey Mize to. I know this White Sox lineup is very dangerous, and I know Detroit's lineup doesn't look as good without C.J. Cron, but I think that I have an advantage on the mound. We have the number 1 overall pick going, and all you hear are great things about him and how much he's just itching to get on that mound. He gets to go on that mound without, 30,000 fans in the audience. Without, I think that's going to help him be focused here. And I'm going to get a plus line. So I don't care how hot the White Sox bats are right now. I think I have a clear advantage with the number 1 overall pick, and I'm going to take Tigers first 5. We'll see what I get. It's plus 115 right now. And we have Nolly Knows on the first 5 under. All right, let's move on to Brewers, Twins. Rich Hill back on the mound. Let's just make sure that is confirmed here. It is. This first 5 total is at 5.5. Full game here. Let's get over here quickly. Full game. Twinkies open up at minus 160. That's where they stand right now. Although line shopping, you can get better than that. Ryan Kosowski says Twins have not scored over 4 runs in 5 straight. They get healthy today. Not excited about Rich Hill, but mini -1 and minus 122 versus Brett Anderson. 82 Fahrenheit clear. It's a windy day at Target, but the wind is sideways across the diamond, 11 miles per hour. Anderson, 4.91 ERA, 1.64 whip. Not to be trusted, but he's a tricky guy for me to figure out. Rich Hill looked very good this first start. Then he goes on the IL with a left shoulder fatigue. He's always been good against Milwaukee, and I expect him to be good here. He's been chomping at the bit to get back on the mound, supposedly. Brewers, Twins, Noah, you making a move?
Yeah, this is a very interesting game, and this is contrary to a lot of people's, initial thought when they look at the Twins. Twins have been the second most profitable team when you talk about in terms of under, especially when you look at their home records. At home, they've only lost, I believe, 1 or 2 games to the under. Let me look at that. Yeah, they are 12-1 to the under here at home, a trend that I look to continue to back, especially at a 9.5. Rich Hill is not an over-dominant guy, a guy that I'm familiar with. He got his second shot over here with the Dodgers, and he pitched extremely well. The one thing, though, that I will say is that here with the Dodgers, he was successful because they didn't allow him to see the third time around hardly ever. And it's something that's affected him in his career, and it's something that he was able to find success in the short stints. I don't know how they look to attack him, look to use him here, but I expect him to have a decent start. And on the other side, you got Anderson, a guy that about average overall in his career, but last year he really turned it on over there in Oakland. Now playing in a different ballpark, maybe things kind of average back out to where he was, but much better pitcher than his numbers would indicate. A guy that I expect to actually come out here and have a solid start against the Twins offense, who's still solid. Some guys are still hitting well, but not the potent offense and potent numbers that you might think of, especially early in the season. I'm going to stick to the trend here. I'm going to keep riding the train here. I'm going the full game under 9.5.
Why did you not want the first 5 under 5.5?
My concern here is that they do have bats. They do have explosions. I dealt with it out there. I took a 5.5 out there, and I squeaked out of there with a 5 total after the first 5, and they didn't score after that. So it seems to me I've been having a lot more value on the full game. Yesterday got a little bit scary. They ended up going extra innings after Maeda gives up the no-hit bid in the 9th inning. And then the bullpen comes up and kind of gives it up. I squeaked out of there with that, but I just seem to have more value. And the 12-1 is a stat that I'm not going against.
Twins versus lefties, 238, 674 OPS. They're not strong against lefties. So full game under and not first 5 under. Billy take it away. I'm still thinking here. No, please.
Yeah,
do.
I think a big factor is also bullpens, right? So these are 2 bullpens that I actually like. The Milwaukee Brewers and the way Craig Counsell handles it, something that I've talked about on the show. I like their bullpen quite a bit. This is a team and the Brewers that I've mentioned to take second half unders. So that's the thing. That's where I find value. So even if it does end up getting to a 6, if I've got 3.5 still second half, I'm okay with that, and I'm willing to bet that. So that's where I see it. But if they only get 4, then I have extra value for the second half.
DX Filer feels like these bullpens are spent after this series, this low-scoring series. I think that with these pitchers who succeed with their off-speed pitches, this 11 miles per hour sideways is going to help them.
Without a doubt.
I'm just going to take the first 5 on. And the only reason why I don't want to double up here, even though I didn't want to double up on this game yesterday, and it was an easy cash, even though it went extras. I'm just going to go I think that 5.5 is nice. I'm going to take the first 5 under 5.5, going right back to the well. that I was in yesterday. All right, let's move on to Astros, Rockies, Valdez, Castellani. See what we're dealing with here. Let me move over to full game. Framberg's being better than his record indicates. The Astros open up at minus 155. They're now minus 150, a 5-cent move towards the Rockies, and this total at 12.5. And Nolly's just been cashing on these first 5 unders in Colorado. 91 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 7 miles per hour, out to right center. Valdez, 1.90 ERA, 1.10 whip, but just 1 and 2. But he's been very good. 1 home run allowed in the 23 and 2/3, 24 K, 6 walks. Castellani looked very good so far in his career. 8 and 2/3, 10 K, 3 walks, 0.58 whip, just 1 run allowed. Astros don't hit righties. 216, 657 OPS, and Rockies smash lefties. 299, 812 OPS. Astros bullpen is improving. Rough start with injuries and moving people in different, putting them in situations, trying to figure out the right situations for the bullpen. They've got that figured out, it looks like now. Rockies bullpen, 4.60 ERA, 1.37 whip. Castellani making his 3rd start since moving in to replace Chichi Gonzalez. He threw 4 scoreless in his debut against Seattle August 8th, then allowed 1 run and 4 2/3 against Texas on Friday. He struck out 10. Oh, no, that's overall. It's overall. Valdez got his lone win in his last start, allowed 1 run in 6 innings. He's a very good pitcher. Who Baker's very high on. Astros, Rockies, Nolly, is there a move here?
Right, yeah. This is a spot right away I'm looking at. Framber Valdez, like you said, he's looked really good. And not just that, he's looked good against some solid lineups. He faced the Dodgers, he faced the Angels, and he faced Oakland. All of which the worst outing came against the Dodgers, 4 1/3, 3 earned runs, and that was a relief appearance. In his starts, he's looked phenomenal. This is a guy that mentioned that he wants to start. He's looking to be the starter, and he's taking it over. This is a spot that I really, really like. You got Castellani on the mound the other side. I don't know if you remember last Friday. That was my big spot last time. Castellani is a guy that I'm really big on, albeit that some of his numbers in the minor leagues don't look that great, but he's made adjustments. He went to more of a 3-quarter system. This is a guy that has a lot of similarities to Max Scherzer. He talked about it after his first start, that he used to look at Max Scherzer's video of him to kind of emulate his style. He has made some tweaks to that delivery now over there with Colorado, and he's looked really, really good. In his first outing, he had 4 perfect innings, and he gave up a walk, and they were able to they ended up yanking him. Had a little bit longer leash against Texas. Did give up a home run, but he looked really good. He's got 10 strikeouts, just 3 walks, a guy that I'm really high on, like I mentioned. And if they're going to keep giving me these great numbers over there in Colorado with these great pitching, I'm going to keep taking it. These are 2 lineups that didn't look to be hitting. You got 2-1 ball games in the last 2 games. Houston's really, really reeling. They lose another player to the IL at the reigning rookie of the year, and they're going to really struggle off of that. And Colorado, yeah, they do hit lefties, but I'll repeat it over and over. Good pitching beats good hitting. I really like this play. This is definitely the play of the day for me. I'm on that first 5 under 7.
First 5 under 7. We have a play of the day here, and Rye Cape thinks that Valdez could get touched first time ever at Coors Field, but that is not concerned Nolly in the past. And I don't want to speak for you, but that doesn't concern you now?
No, definitely not. Yeah, nah. They overadjust. I think there's overadjustment when you go over there to Colorado, and the fact is the bats. Yeah, Colorado was reeling, but was playing really well, but not as of late. They're not winning very many ball games. This is a club that's lost 5 out of 6, and on the other side, Houston, who's won 5 out of 6. And Houston's doing it by pitching. Their pitching has stepped up to another level with the bullpen and everything, and I expect them to come out and do similar here with Valdez.
We have Nolly's play of the day, Astros, Rockies, first 5 under 7, and I am in. I will tail Nolly's play of the day. All right, let's go to my favorite Bulldog on the mound, Lance Lynn and the Texas Rangers, and Paddock. I'm very interested to hear what Nolly thinks of Paddock, as he's not looked quite as strong. Small sample size, but this year, this total opened up extremely low in San Diego at a 7. It's gone up to 7.5 at Bet365. It's gone up to 8 at some other books. Paddock and the Padres open up at minus 125. They're now at minus 130. So a 5-cent move towards the Padres 13-12, 6-4 at home, going up against the Rangers, 10-12, 3-6 on the road. 78 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour sideways. Lynn looks awesome this year. 3-0, 1.11 ERA, 0.74 WHIP, 36 Ks, 32 and a third, 12 walks, 2 home runs allowed. Paddock, 4.91 ERA, but his WHIP is still strong, and his strikeout to walk, his K to walk ratio very good. But he's allowed 7 home runs. So his WHIP's at 1.17. His ERA is 4.91 because he's allowed 7 home runs in 25 2/3. But the Rangers don't hit righties. 214, 647 OPS. Padres do hit righties. 236, 775 OPS. Both bullpens are bad in the bottom 5 of the league. And Paddock was originally supposed to pitch against the Rangers on Tuesday, but he was held back, given an extra day of rest. And I wonder if they're concerned. Past 3 starts, 12 runs and 6 homers allowed. Lynn looks awesome. This, to me, is going to be a Rangers first 5. Just feels like that's the spot to back. But I really want to hear Nolly's thoughts on Paddock. How do you think he's going to look today?
I mean, yeah, when you look overall at a 4.91 ERA, it doesn't look really good. But most of that coming by way of the Dodgers in his last start, giving up 6 runs. But that's a team that hits righties really well, and a team that he had faced this multiple times already in this short season. There's a guy, the Sheriff, a guy that I'm still high on. But if you look as the way that his numbers are progressing, they're heading in the wrong direction. Gave up 0 runs, then 2, then 3, then 3, then 6. So a guy that I'm not too sure about. But the one thing that I do know is that he goes back and he records every moment that happens. So he went back and he recorded what happened here in every at-bat he had against the Dodgers. And I expect him to learn from that and progress from that. This is a guy that's dedicated to his craft, and I expect him to bounce back. Will he have the same shutouts that he had before? That's a bit of a concern. But facing here a team with Texas, a lineup that hasn't been scary at all. I've been able to pound their unders a lot because of their inability to score. And now they got their ace on the mound in Lance Lynn, who's just been flat out dominant. Best pitcher in the major leagues right now, highest WAR, highest everything right now. The guy's a stud. And the thing what I see is throwing over 100 pitches every time out. So the fact that he throws a complete game over there in Colorado and it comes back right back, not a concern for me. It can be for some pitchers, but not with this guy. I expect him to come out and back this team up. A lot of drama in this game, with the unwritten rules of baseball. And I don't want to get into all that. I get pretty heated, but another time for another show. But I think Lance Lynn comes in here and he has a great performance. And the one thing that I kind of like your look at is the fact that when I will address it, I guess, a little, was Tatis still in third. If you notice what happened after that, all of a sudden the Rangers put up a 4 spot. It's something that you don't do in life, especially in baseball. You don't kick a sleeping dog because he'll bite you. And I think here Texas is going to wake up behind their ace, and I like your look.
Beautiful. But you're going to stay off the first 5 under. It's at 3.5. There are a couple books that are hanging a 4.
Yeah, I'm off right now. This, like you said, the question marks with Paddock. I still like the guy, but I'm off right now. I got to see some things before I jump back on that train.
Rangers first 5, both Nolly, myself, Top Set are making moves on it, getting plus money there. All right, here we go. Diamondbacks, A's. And for me, Nolly, not only do I love Merrill Kelly, and you had a great read on Kelly coming into this year. Let's just go to this first half under quickly. But Luzardo getting a 4.5. I think that's enough for me. I think I'm going to make a move on. I'm going to make a move on the Diamondbacks first 5, but also the first 5 under. I know Luzardo has not looked good. 9 walks and 20 2/3, 3 home runs allowed. But maybe this is a mistake. The first 5 under. The Diamondbacks don't hit lefties, so they're hitting 252, 668 OPS against lefties. I have a pitching advantage with Merrill Kelly. I have a lefty who I think can hold back this Diamondbacks team enough to get under the first 5, 4.5. And then backing Diamondbacks on the first 5 because still, I know they've won 6 straight, but this A's bullpen is very dangerous, and they're coming off a 10-1 beating, and I think they can step up right now. But Kelly is rolling. 1.71 ERA, 0.91 WHIP. And this also dates back to last season. In his last 9 starts dating back to 2019, he's 7-2 with a 1.97 ERA, and these A's haven't seen him. So I want Diamondbacks first 5 and first 5 under, and I'm very curious to hear what you think of this spot. Diamondbacks A's, Nolly.
That's an interesting spot for sure. Merrill Kelly, like you said, I'm a big fan of him. He seems to have found himself. An older guy playing in the KBO, found something over there and looking really, really comfortable. He mentioned that in a couple of interviews, and he's looked really good, able to work out of a lot of jams, been able to get ground balls when he needed to, and I really like the way he's looking. And the lineup for the Diamondbacks has actually been really hot. They lead the majors with 3.23 batting average since August 9th. Second in runs since that day with 54 runs, but they're tied here with Oakland. Oakland has also been playing really well. They've been on a tear, and here they got Luzardo on the mound. The crafty lefty, a guy that I'm not too high on, but he seems to pitch well in Oakland. That's a stadium that fits him well, and maybe more of a comfortable spot. He did get lit up in San Francisco, which is also a pitcher's park. Went 3 1/3, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and wasn't able to really command his fastball to get ahead of the count, and that's what really affected him here. The guy I still have a lot of question marks with him, but I do like the angle of the lefty against this Diamondbacks lineup. The one thing that I am afraid of is the way that they've been hot as of late, and I do expect a nice outing out of Kelly. Honestly, I was looking more so maybe the Diamondbacks on the first 5 with the plus money. I haven't pulled the trigger, but I would not talk you off that first 5 under. I do like it, just a couple boxes that I'm not sure, and I got to see more out of Luzardo myself.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I need to reach here. I think just Diamondbacks first 5 is probably enough, but I let's just quickly see. So Luzardo's last start was against the Giants, and the Giants don't hit lefties, right?
They do not. They hit righties significantly better.
Yeah, that's got to be another red flag. If he can't get teams that don't hit lefties out, why would I take an under 4.5 here if against a hot team that doesn't hit lefties? So I think I'm going to take off this first 5 under. Although I don't dislike it, I have enough plays on this board that I don't need to force things. I will be on the Diamondbacks first 5, though. Diamondbacks first 5 is a look. Okay, we got 2 games left on this giant card. Next up, Dodgers, Mariners, Urias, Taijuan Walker. Oh, by the way, we know that the Coliseum in Oakland is a very tough place to hit. Big, giant outfield. But it is 72 Fahrenheit, 10 miles per hour out to straightaway center, which will help a little bit. There's Cuban Connect into the house. Cuban Connect, we have missed you. Love seeing some of our OG low baggers rolling with us. Cuban Connect in the house. Okay, 72 Fahrenheit, clear, 10 miles per hour, out to straight away center in Oakland. Dodgers, Mariners, 80 Fahrenheit in Seattle, warm for Seattle this time of year. Mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour, out to straight away center. Mariners 3-7 at home. Dodgers have won 7 straight. Mariners have lost 7 straight. Mariners first lefties, 174, 558 OPS. They just can't hit them. Urias' last start, he left back-to-back home runs in the first inning and then completely settles down, only allows 3 more hits against San Diego. Taijuan Walker, 2-1, 4.88 ERA in 6 starts against the Dodgers. This is a spot where Urias is just going to shut them down, I expect. And Taijuan Walker is probably going to get violated. Not that he's that bad of a pitcher. It's just that this Dodgers team smashes righties. Dodgers open up at minus 250. That's where they stand right now, bet 365. This total sitting at 9, although one book has moved it to 9.5. I have no plan to make a move on this game. Are you making a move on this game at Dodgers Mariners?
A little difficult to make a move because the only way I'm looking at to take would be the Dodgers. Taijuan Walker, I am a fan of him, and it's a case of more so I want him to succeed than more so belief at this point. He's shown this year kind of what he is and what he has been. He's very erratic. He'll give you really good starts and then really bad starts. So if you look at his starts, his first start gave up five earned runs in 3 1/3. Then comes out and dominates, going 7 innings, 0 earned runs. Then again goes 3 2/3, giving up 4 runs. So now it's time to bounce back. He goes 6 innings, zero earned runs. It's kind of like who he is and who he's been, who was throughout his career, and now he's in a tough spot going against this Dodger lineup. Who, yeah, they've sputtered a little bit yesterday, but before that, they've been on an absolute tear, putting up runs in bunches, and I expect them to come out and hit him hard. A guy they're not unfamiliar with, a guy that they've seen over there with Arizona, short sample size, but a guy that they can hit. On the other side, we got Urias, guy that looks really, really good. Guy that I'm a big fan of and finally gets his chance to show everybody what he's got. He's got a lot of experience, a guy that's pitched at a young age in the Mexican leagues, and he's got a great presence about him. Now facing a team in Seattle whose lineup doesn't scare anybody. They were able to get some runs the other in the first game of the series, but I believe that's over. I expect dominance from Urias, like you said, and I expect the Dodgers to hang some numbers early, but not the type of bet that I like to make, laying all that juice. So I'm off this game, and I'll be enjoying it as a fan.
Yeah, that's probably the only way to play. Hako Schofield back in action. Love seeing Hako Schofield. Cuban Connect, OG Lowbaggers rolling. Yeah, this is going to have to probably be a stay off. These team totals are, I mean, Dodgers over 5.5 and minus 115. What do you think of that?
Jeez. Dude, that's brutal.
The Mariners under 3.5 is juiced to minus 135. So
I'd more so lean towards that.
To the Mariners under 3.5?
I'd more so lean towards that, but I mean that's too juiced. That's a little too juiced, you know. But I mean that's not my game, so it's hard to sit here and be like, oh yeah, that's value. It's for me to identify it. It's a little bit different. I have to think about it a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe just a parlay piece. AJS taking Dodgers minus 1.5. That's minus 150.
That's brutal.
Let's go to Angels Giants. 69 Fahrenheit clear, 11 miles per hour out to center at Oracle Park. Angels probably the biggest disappointment of the season so far. Although I, wasn't high on them to start the year, but I know a lot of people were very high on them. 8-16. What a bunch of bums. Patrick Sandoval though, looking for his first win of his major league career. 12 starts. It's the longest stretch without a victory for a starting pitcher to begin a career in Angels history. Last out, 5 runs, 4 earned. But Madden's saying really nice things about him. Cueto's being good this year, coming off another nice start. 4.62 ER, 1.18 whip, but he's been better than that looks. Although his K to walk ratio is still not very good. Angels versus righties, 246, 798 OPS. Giants versus righties, 248, 704 OPS. Both teams' bullpens are bad. And Cueto against the Angels, small sample size, 3 starts, but 0.86 ERA. These Angels open up at minus 150. They're now minus 145. This total opened up at 8.5, and it's now at 9. Nolly Knows the last game on our card here. Angels, Giants, you're making a move.
I'm not sure. This is a game I think I'm going to be off, and a lot of reasons here. The Angels, it's a big disappointment for a lot of people, but to me, it's no surprise. In this game, you need pitching, and that's one thing that they've never addressed. They did get Bundy, but their bullpen is not that great, and their starting staff isn't that great, and that's why they're not able to win. The Angels are the first team in Major League history to lose at least 15 games of their first 22, despite hitting 35 home runs in that stretch. It's ridiculous. They're scoring 5-6 runs and losing, some that I expected out of them because pretty much Rendon and Trout can't pitch. So keep getting those guys, but as long as you can't pitch, you're not going to win. That's just plain and simple. But here they actually got a guy that's pretty solid in Patrick Sandoval. Made a big start for him against the Dodgers. He's a Southern California guy. Grew up not too far from Angel Stadium. So to me, that was a big pressure spot. And he actually looked really good and looked good for most of the game. I thought he did well. He just ran into a train, the Dodgers. They were putting up runs in bunches, and he just got hit, but he does face a Giants team that doesn't hit lefties the same way that they hit righties. So I expect him to have a bounce back spot here. And on the other side, we got Johnny Cueto. No secret. I'm a fan of his. Guy that has a lot of fun on the mound. But there's one concern for me is the way that he's been getting lit up in these 6 innings. I have been riding him on a lot of first fives, but to me, he's looking a little susceptible. Maybe stamina is being an issue for him, being that he's getting lit up, or maybe the second, third time around, just finally getting hit. This is a stay away game for me, being that I don't really trust Cueto right now. But and especially when you look at the Angels at minus 150, definitely not laying that price with the bullpen that could give it up at any moment. I'll just be maybe watching this game, but probably won't look at it at all. Two teams not too fond of.
Agreed. I'm going to stay off that game as well. There you have it. 2 doubleheaders. Giant MLB schedule. We broke them all down. Let's review, my friend. Great seeing PRC publicist, Cuban Connect, Hako Schofield, all these OG low baggers rolling with us today. Let's review our action. Nolly Knows. Take it away. What are your looks on this big MLB card?
Oh man, I might be all in today. Dang. I got Cleveland Pitt. I'm going first 5 under, 4.5 there. Maybe catch a 5 if you can. But that's a play I like. Average 1 unit play. Then I got DeGrom Day, famous day for me. Mets, Marlins, first 5 under, 3.5. I'm not scared of that 3.5. Sometimes, like I said, you got to drop the purse. Then you got Detroit, Chicago White Sox, first 5 under 5. Youngsters that I really like, or really fond of. Mize, 2.71 ERA over his minor league career. I expect big things. Then we got Brewers, Twins, full game under 9.5. Riding the streak, 12-1 streak over there. We're going to keep on riding with that. And the play of the day, Houston, Colorado, first 5 under 7. That's definitely the dead under that I like here. And then I'm going to be making a move on a couple sides. I'm going to end up taking Texas first 5, and I'm going to take Diamondbacks first 5 on the money line for both of those.
I love it. There you have our Nolly Knows' action. This is my action. I'm on Blue Jays, Orioles, first 5 over 5.5. I am going to double up on the Phillies. First 5 -0.5, full game -1. Cardinals, Cubs. This is going to be my first bet on a doubleheader all year. I'm going to ensure, as always, but list of pitchers must start. I'm going to take the under 7 in Cardinals, Cubs, Flaherty versus Mills, game 1.
There's a 7?
Yeah, is it moved to 6.5?
No, I haven't seen it. That's why I'm jumping on that with you.
Oh, no, it's a 6. Sorry, I guess I had the innings in my head. It's 6.
Yeah, I've got 6.
Under 6. That means it needs 5 runs. I still think we can get there. 8 miles per hour in at Wrigley. What do you think, Nolly?
Okay. I've actually got a line for a first 5 here.
What is it?
3.5. Yeah. It's not unexpected. That's pretty much what I expected it to be. 3.5. Wind slightly blowing in. Kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to get a line right now. I guess stay tuned. I might be making a move.
Prince of the Sea just spit out his coffee when I bet on the Phillies. Okay. God, guys, he makes me laugh so hard. Okay.
Come on, Prince.
I'm doubling up on the Yankees. I think there's value on Cole. I'll take him at this price. First 5 -0.5, full game -1. I don't care that the Rays won 9 out of 10. And, Glass now does not look very good right now. We'll see. And then Tigers first 5. So I'm going to back Casey Mize, but I'm not going to take the first 5 under. And Nolly's on. Brewers, Twins first 5 under 5.5. Damn, I got a lot of action today. That's going to be fun. Rangers first 5 with Lance Lynn. And then where is Nolly's? I'm tailing Nolly. Diamondbacks first 5. Rangers first 5. Oh, and there it is. The first 5 under 7. I'm tailing Nolly's play of the day. There you have it. BC says, anyone have any plays of the day? Nolly's play of the day, first 5 under 7. Astros, Rockies. Beautiful work. What a giant card that was, Nolly. Thank you so much for your help. Follow this man at Nolly562. I'm going to pop it here at Nolly562. And Karhung says, Rays have value. Yeah, for a team that's won 9 out of 10, I'm sure, that's a valid statement, But for a guy on a 27-game unbeaten streak, I think I'm getting a nice price on Cole. Ron Crawford said spreadsheet play of the day, Yankees. Kara Hung says trends are made to die. What trend is that? Is that the trend of the Rays winning 9 of 10? or the trend of Cole with 27 games unbeaten streak. Nolly Knows, my man. Any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
No, just keep banging them away, and let's make these unders great again, man.
There he is. Nolly Knows in the house. Nolly, thank you so much for joining us. You can catch Nolly every Wednesday right here. I'm betting with the bag. He wakes up early. Fight's a good fight for us. Have a great day, my man.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jimmy. Let's catch those tickets.
All right. Much love to our Nolly Knows. Okay, we've got to talk basketball. We've got to talk NHL, but that game is popping off in 35 minutes in NHL, and that, God, I still haven't bet it yet. Sucks. 33 minutes. So I can either bet it while we're doing this right now. I probably should have bet it while Nolly was breaking down a game. It's just, okay. Let's just stay calm. Let's start breaking down NBA. We're coming off a nice day, 2-in-1 day. In Texas trend that's been cashing nonstop. The total's under 230 to go over. I went on 2 of them yesterday and went 2-0. So I lost with the Thunder, but 2-0. I also, did it my own way with the first half over in that Bucks Magic game. There was no reason to go first half. I could have just gone full game or whatever, but the Rockets over I like very much, especially with the expected pace of the Rockets. So we are in business. Michael Evelina says, bet it now. It's your show. We will all be patient. I'm going to be able to get this bet in, and even if okay, well, I'm just not going to worry here. We got 32 minutes for me to get it in. Okay. Let's get to work here. We're going to talk NBA. We're 2-1 yesterday, up 0.90 units. So it's been a battle. 135 wins, 122 losses this year. 52.5% we're up 3.72 units. Our ROI is plus 1.45%. Average line minus 108. Hako Schofield says Toronto will smash again. Ulysses Hayes says Toronto. And Birdie's got his NHL plays in here. Let's take a look at what Birdie is doing. Phoenix first period money line. Philly Habs tie first period. Cards. Carolina Boston first period. Blue Jackets first period money line. Ooh, that's exciting. All first periods, man. The guy's gonna be sweating buckets. All right, let's go. Nets Raptors here. We've already seen. Maybe this is a sign for me not to bet Columbus. But look, it just keeps going up. Plus 155. God, I should have done it when. Okay. Kara Hung says Nets can't play D. They don't have the roster. After the domination that the Raptors showed, I'm not going to take them at this price. It just is a little too much. They put the fear in the Brooklyn Nets in game 1. And you have to think that Brooklyn will come out stronger early, even though roster-wise they're incapable of matching up against this Raptors team. This total opened up at 11. It's now at 11.5. And this total opened up at 226.5. It's now down to 225.5. We've already seen penny bombs make a move on the under here in Nets Raptors. The Nets in the bubble had a pace of 103.25 possessions a game. In game 1, that went down to 101.50. Raptors' bubble pace was a little bit faster than the Nets, just a little bit faster. There's Jimmy Gomez in the house. Brandon Lugo says, I'm on this under. Think things slow down. There's 2 in the house. Great to see you, too. And Birdie says, just think those teams facing elimination will come out competitive in these first periods. They have to or they're done. And 2 told us to take the Portland Trail Blazers. Some of us did. I did not, but some of us did. I didn't take the Lakers, though. Birdie says, I like Spencer's look on the under. Raps hit everything that should regress, but the Raps D will always be there. Kerang says, would be smart for Nets to slow it down. Agreed. And Intex says, can you explain how these playoffs are working? Just it's seeds. Just seeding in conference play, not division, just conference seeding. There's Carlos Jetton in the house. All right, so 33-point lead at one point in the second quarter. And that's why you have to think that the Nets will come out stronger. You have to. And the Nets did look good there for a bit in the third quarter. Obviously, the Raptors came out a little lackadaisical after that huge lead going into the second half. Van Fleet was absolutely incredible. 30 points, 8 threes, 11 assists. He's just a very, very good basketball player. Connor Mack says Nets just don't play defense. 2 says there's an insider who told me that Brooklyn Nets will upset the Raptors today. Watch for first quarter if Nets start to shoot threes. You know, Luwawu is very good. He put up 26 in that last game. The Raptors completely shut down Karis LeVert and forced him to be a playmaker, and then he did that well. It took him that was the reason why they fell so far behind. I expect him to be prepared for the double teams and be ready to be an assist man. There's Matt Randall in the house. Taint play of the day is in. Taint play of the day is in. Mark Rosado, Nets first quarter +4. That just feels like a look that does make sense, Mark. It feels like a look that does make sense, but these Raptors are just dangerous, and they have something to prove. Will they get a little lackadaisical after that extremely impressive performance? Let's see what Dutch Boy Fresh is. He's on -4 Celtics. Oh, sorry, Nugs -4, Celtics first half -2.5, full game -4, and Clips -6 for our Dutch Boy Fresh. Mickey Cohen in the house. Great to see you, Mickey, my man. And Matt Randall says, hope you jumped on the Taint yesterday. The Taint going for back-to-back here. 2 says, yes, Raps are dangerous, but they won't be able to replicate the same blow-up. Jesse Daly says, if Nets slow down, the Raptors will destroy them in the half court. Nets' only chance is hitting threes at a high rate. And 2 saying Nets +13.5 guaranteed money. Nick says, I love my Raptors, but coming off a blowout, give me the 11 points. And there's In Opfa in the house. Great to see you, In Opfa. DJ Green says LeVert or bust. Green Tongue Man likes Van Fleet over 29.5 assist points, rebounds. One thing I don't do, Green Tongue Man, and it's just how I've had successful player props, and I'm not saying that your look is wrong, is I never take a guy in any sort of player prop after he has not a career-defining performance, but a career-best performance. That's Van Fleet's best ever playoff game. So I'd be hesitant. I just never do it. Again, we have to deal with we have biases, and they're all around vividness and recency. And we all saw what Van Fleet did, and it's in our head. And I'd be surprised if Van Fleet can do it again. Birdie on Ibaka over 21.5 rebounds, points, and assists. Again, Ibaka's coming off a monster game, 22 points and 7 boards. I can understand the Nets first quarter. Nets could come out hot. They could be angry. There's a 4.5 at Bovada for everywhere else. Jesse Davis says Raptors will put an emphasis on getting to the paint today. There's Elliot V in the house. Green Tongue Man says the gym is for shooters. They're getting used to it. There's no doubt about it. The shooting percentages are up. There's no travel, and there's a lot of practice going on. Nets first quarter makes sense. +4. I got to stop. I think about money and don't think about not betting on your team. I think this makes a ton of sense, the Nets to come out. Birdie says Raps played such consistent first quarters, I can't pull the trigger because of that. Viper MB says don't do it. I'm just going to leave some question marks there right now. Let's move on to Jazz Nuggets. Jazz in the bubble. We're playing at 100.69 possessions a game. In game 1, 96.45 possessions a game, which is around where the Nuggets were playing in the bubble. Slower pace. Let's see what we are dealing with from a market perspective. Denver opening up at -4. There is 2 3.5s on the board. One of them is at Bet365. This total opened up at 218.5 and is now at 217 or 217.5. So, there were 3 players. One Jazz that, Donovan Mitchell was spectacular. Yeah, there was a lapse in judgment with that, 8-second violation. But he was spectacular in that basketball game. And then on the Nuggets side of things, Murray and Jokic were very, very good. And Jokic showed Gobert how difficult it's going to be defending him. Harris and Barton aren't coming back. There's no timetable. I'm not saying they're not coming back, but there's no timetable for their return. Mitchell became the youngest player since MJ for 50 points in a playoff game. Only 2 players, Jordan and Elgin Baylor, have ever scored more than Mitchell. And Conley has returned to Florida, but he's still in the quarantine. So he can't come back. All that said and done is that in the NBA, when there's fans and travel, the last 5 games pace is where I have an edge in totals. And that was something taught to me by Ski Profit. And you have a real edge there because the total is based on the team for the season, and the last 5 games, you get that edge. What's happened here is pace has been a little confusing because these players aren't leaving the bubble. They're just practicing all day, and their shooting percentages have gone way up. So you see a pace as slow as last game, 96.45 possessions a game, but they were scoring buckets, which makes me think that they can get over this total today. It makes me think that betting the unders in any series that's not Sixers Celtics is very dangerous. And we've seen Intex cashing doing it. Dennis Garcia says if Denver guards Mitchell the way they did in game 1, he'll drop another 50. Great to see Dennis Garcia in the house. Spenny Pennybomb says the Jazz are not good. Bright Ware says Jazz will win today if not swept. I mean, they're going to be better, regardless of how you feel about Conley in that ludicrous contract that was signed by the Grizzlies years ago. He helps this basketball team. Swerve Van says Jazz blew their load. Can't play any better. Ride with the spicy nuggets. C-Mac says there's no edge playing an empty gym. And Kerong says good call and the under is scary. They're all these. So the unders, when the total's over 235, as our man Intex can back, they've been going under at a decent rate. But anything under 230 is flying over. So I don't see why this wouldn't just go over. Let's just take another quick look at yesterday. So Ingles without Conley steps up in a big way. You could have beaten that market move before the game 1. Then we saw Ingles as a huge part in the offense, and you're not going to be able to take advantage of those props. 13.5, and it's juiced to the under. For Ingles, 3s made is still at 2.5, juiced to the under. Why do they think that Ingles isn't going to be firing up trays like crazy? That's crazy to me. 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Joe. Slow-mo Joe. Brandon Lewis says, I hammered Ingles game 1 points, rebounds, just over 22.5. I doubt I get that number today. Yeah, it's 24.5. Dennis Garcia said Utah played one good quarter on Monday. Denver has no history of putting teams away when they should. Utah money line took them last night. Look, that makes sense. Dennis, I'm just not sure if they can win without Conley. Brandon Lugo says 24.5. I may still take, but no hammer. Tommy Bolt says the Jazz had their best player have the game of his life, and they still couldn't cover, taking Nuggets -4. Spenny says I can't trust Jazz. Have no depth. Dav Fenn on the over 107 first half. That's a good look, Dav. They're dangerous, Matt. I think that what we know happens is if a team is down, they pull the goalie very early. So it's not something that I do often. All right, let's move on to Sixers-Celtics. Sixers-Celtics. And Embiid has to take onus of what's going on in this game. He has to take complete control. So the points so he also was talking about how he's got to distribute the ball better than he did in the last game, and he's got it man up rebounds wise. I looked at his points, rebounds, and assists, and they were 43.5, and it was heavily juiced to the over, and it just didn't make sense to me. Prince of the City says if they have Joker at 21 points, 9 rebounds again, hammer it. Bright Ware says the only bet in this game is the under. I don't think so. I don't think so. I know it's tricky trusting Joel Embiid. Let's just quickly take a look at what our man. By the way, Prince of the City player props in NBA are very strong. And let's see what we're getting with the Joker. 22.5 points. Points and rebounds for Joker is 31.5. And I'm not going to bet on the Sixers. But I do think that Embiid will be true to what he was saying, and he'll take onus over distributing better and hitting the boards harder. Because he's the only thing, he's the only weapon, really, that the Sixers have against this great Celtics defense. And when Joel says something like that he's going to distribute, that he's going to hit the boards harder, I believe him. So, Princeton said, what happens when he gasses out after one quarter? I think this is the look, and I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet Joel Embiid over 16.5 rebounds and assists. The King saying, so Tobias not a weapon now, Jimmy? He's a weapon against certain teams. But Tatum and Brown completely annihilated the 4-3 spot. Whether it was Horford and Tobias, it didn't matter. Tatum and Brown were just so much better. And so I'm not saying that Tobias is not someone who can get hot at times. Look at these numbers. Tatum and Brown against Harris and Horford. They outscored him 61-21. Horford and Harris went 0 for 4 from 3. Tatum and Brown went 7 for 13. And now that Gordon Hayward's out, there's just going to be more onus on Tatum and Brown to dominate. 2 says, can Tatum and Brown repeat the same for 2 consecutive games? Look, I don't know. Dennis Garcia says Boston are past. Look, I agree with that. And I think that -4.5 is a nice number for the Celtics, but let's see what they do without Hayward. And I am only going to take Embiid over 16.5 rebounds and assists. Let's move on to Mavericks at Clippers. Mavericks at Clippers. Okay. I think that the Celtics get it done without Hayward. Billy Bloodbath says nobody guarding Tatum, can't trust Embiid. Birdie says Philly has to be close to just giving up. They lose today. I think it's over for them in a big way. All right, let's move on to Mavs Clippers. Yes, too. I do. Champino in the house says over in this game. And Pearson's going on the IL. Interesting. Okay. Okay, let's talk Mavericks, Clippers, everybody. Let's move over to that spot on the board. This total opened up at 231. It's now at 230. There is one book that's dropped it to 229.5. This is a spot with Clippers -6. And Marcus Morris was excellent. And this Clippers team is just going to get better now. And we couldn't say that in the beginning of the bubble because now they have Harrell and Beverly back, and they don't look very good. And they're going to just look better and better and better. And as soon as Montrezl can be the dominant force that we've seen him be in the past, this team is going to be very dangerous. But that's not necessarily going to happen now. And you have a very angry Big Dick Zingis. And this is a perfect game to live bet on your edge because this is just runs. You just see runs. Clippers go on an 18-2 run. Mavs answer back with a 48-18 run. Bright Ware says Mavs got nothing for the Clips. Prince of the City says, why are Burke and Porce listed as game time decisions? It's the first I've heard of that. Let me just check something out here. Thank you for mentioning that, Prince of the City. This is the first I've heard of any issue. Let's just make sure that Zingis is fine. Questionable. Sore right knee. Wow. That's wild. Yeah, Green Tongue Man says Porce has knee issues. Alonso Garcia says Mavs got nothing for Clippers, question mark. Did you not watch that last game? Well, what we saw was Luka go for 42, 9, and 7. But we also saw him commit 11 turnovers. Viper says they'll play. Pennybomb says, I hold my opinion that the Mavs could have won that game if KP didn't get ejected. They had no inside presence. Boban is a tall pylon. I agree with that. They better win game 2 if they want any chance because I'm telling you, Beverly and Montrezl are just going to get better and better and better. And when they do, this Clippers team is going to, they're the only future bet I have. I got plus 350, and I only have 300 on it, but Mark Rosado says NBA is best for live betting. Pennybomb says less turnovers for Luka tonight. He better. I mean, that was just ludicrous. Let's see what we can get on Luka turnover prop. Turnovers. He's at 5.5. Heavily juiced to the over. Alonzo says Mavs could have won if KP didn't get ejected. No doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Look, the Mavs they're probably the best 7 seed. The Blazers are the best 8 seed that the NBA's seen in a long, long time. Mavericks are a really good basketball team. I just think the Clippers are the best basketball team. So I'm not going to sit here and take the Clippers at this number. And the Mavericks better win this basketball game. Hako Schofield says Mavs. Don John overs the play, Jazz, Nuggets, Celtics, Raptors, and Clippers. Okay, you're eating if you're doing that because we know that all these games under 230 are going over. Although this Dallas Clippers game is being bet towards the under. All right. This all pops off in 39 short minutes. Nets, Raptors. George Wood, I haven't bet it yet, and I'm going to have to bet it live if I do. But, yeah, I would take Columbus. I thought the game was starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, and I would have time to bet it. All right, let's move over to NHL. Let me just take one last look at these totals. It's strange that the betting public and the market, I should say, is moving these towards unders when the trend for all of these under 230s is to go over. Strange. Mr. Gogster in the house. Okay, so I have one bet on this NBA card. I have Joel Embiid over 16.5 rebounds and assists. Alonzo Garcia says, I'm a Mavs fan and I'm staying off. Clippers -6. We've got a lot to figure out in this series. But I think the Mavs got to win early because the Clippers are going to keep improving. All right, let's move on to NHL, coming off a very disappointing day, a lazy day. I'd won 7 of my last 8, and I went against the market in 2 bets, and it was Birdie on first quarter Mavs money line. And Jose Guerrero says Raps game goes under 225. Dennis Garcia on Columbus, Tampa under 5. 0-2 yesterday, down 2.45 units, and now I'm back in this horrible negative spot for the year. 0.12 units I'm down on the year. I'm 120 wins, 138 losses, 46.5%, but my average line is plus 120. So I'm down 0.12 units, and my ROI is 0.05%. Very disappointing. Mr. Go said 1-1 after first period in Calgary Dallas. Couldn't believe we didn't hit that. I think I just got a little lazy. All right, Jackets Lightning. Tampa Bay leads the series 3-1 going in for the kill. Jackets power play, just like the regular season, bad, 7.1%. Their penalty killing, excellent, 91.3%. This is just playoffs. Lightning power play, 13.3%. Their penalty killing, 88.0%. I hear you, Gate Pass Key. It's very exciting watching OV. We're just so lucky to get to watch him. So Tampa Bay was completely carried by Goodrow, Gord, and Coleman. Goodrow, Gordy, Coleman. They looked very, very good. But this has been a very tight series. Tampa Bay's held a 2-goal lead for 4 minutes and 23 seconds of this series. That's it. All right. This total at 5. And it's pick them either way. Tampa Bay opens up at minus 165. They're now minus 175. Yenny Toon says, I think the Blue Jackets are going home. Don John says Clippers versus the Raptors prop is fire, especially if you did it a month ago or 3 weeks ago when they came, before the Raptors opened up the bubble by beating the Lakers. Cuban Connect. Let's get Cuban Connect's actions up here. Prince of the City said, if I see Paul George over 25, that would be a play for me. I find that interesting. 25.5 juice to the under at mine. Gate Pasky said, I cannot figure this game out, leaning Bolts. Columbus just, they have a very difficult time scoring. 1 goal for every 41 minutes played in the series. Vasilevsky, a .939 save percentage. And the Lightning, notoriously, when holding a 3-1 lead, going into Game 5, obviously, they're 5-1 in their franchise history in Game 5s. Birdie says Blue Jackets are defying all forms of logic this playoff so far. I can't bet Tampa because Blue Jackets always show up facing elimination. Blue Jackets are nothing. I agree with that. I want the Blue Jackets. I think the Blue Jackets can win, but I'm going to have to bet it live. So we'll see how this affects my bankroll. Not getting it in. George Wood says, I think Corpusalo comes back to earth today. Chili Dog Dooley says, the only look I see is Jackets' first period money line coming out strong, but Tampa puts them away late. Reese on Flyers money line, Jackets money line, and Avs puck line. All right, let's move on to the Hurricanes, Bruins. So the Bruins have intangibles of a champion. And McAvoy's hit on Jordan Staal, that to me was the series. You have this captain of the Hurricanes gaining speed, coming out of his own zone, and a big captain. You know, what is he? What's Jordan? 6'5"? And McAvoy puts his shoulder into Stahl's chest. And Stahl's head, his brain rattles around and could be another concussion. It sure looked like Stahl thought it was a concussion when he was leaving very angrily. But what McAvoy does, what Marchand and Bergeron do, it's just the intangibles of a champion. And when they started going, and with DeBrusque rolling, when they started going that third period, there was nothing stopping them. And when McAvoy put his shoulder into the chest of Jordan Stahl, I was like, well, this is over. This is just over. And I need the Hurricanes to help my futures situation. I mean, it's just $100 on each from the beginning of the year. It's not necessarily what you're going to lose. It's what you thought you might have been able to win. They score 4 goals in 6 minutes and 51 seconds. Hurricanes aren't going to get Svechnikov back. They're unlikely to get Jordan Stahl back. I don't know if anybody knows if Jordan Stahl is going to play. The Bruins are doing this without Pasternak. Slat says Mrazek, Reimer in net for the Canes was the end of the series. I need Reimer to sit on this fucking bench because he is so deep in his net. The Bruins are just too dangerous to be within that. He's just too deep in his net. Look, that overtime goal that Bergeron scored on Mrazek, Mrazek was way out of position. But after watching Reimer stay so deep in his net, I'd rather see Mrazek flailing around 20 feet out of his net than fucking Reimer. What's he fucking brewing coffee back there? What is he doing? I can't watch it anymore. I'm going to lose my shit. Oh, wow. Okay, gas station. Great. That's great stuff. So for the horse capping show tomorrow that Razor does here on Odds, Paul Tucci and Gas Station Sushi will be on the purple couch of the Starship. Thank you for letting us know. I'll help promote that for sure. Reese said, I knew it was over when that hit happened and there was no reaction from the Hurricanes. Oh, God, it was just heartbreaking. So there's certain coaches, and they're both playing back-to-back. Their teams are down 3-1. And Brindamore and Tocchet are going to get something out of you. They're not going to sit back and not get in your face and get you pumped up. Does that mean Carolina is going to come out strong or Arizona is going to come out strong? Slats, Gallagher keeps saying he's not hurt, and that was Kirk Muller's decision to bench him in the third period. Mr. Goldster says Carolina wins. Well, I'll tell you, Brindamore's going to have him ready to play. So we're dealing with a 5 here, and if Carolina wins, they better score some goals. Mark Rosado says, Reimer been killing you for years, Jimmy. Look, I know I live in Toronto, but I'm a Canucks. I'm born and raised in Vancouver. I'm a Canucks fan. So I was in Vegas when the Bruins came back in Game 7 of the Bruins-Leafs series. And, Mr. Gore says maybe not the series, but this game. If there's no Jordan Stahl in the lineup, I'm not betting the Hurricanes. And God, you need him as a third-line centerman. He's big. He's fast. Clint, diehard MMA podcast and said, I think you take all 4 3-1 dogs, and if you go 2-2, your profit. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to take the over 5 in this game. And I know this burnt me yesterday because there's so much juice, but I just see goals being scored. Looks like I'm going to get minus 135 on this bet, which is terrible for juice, but I think there will be goals. I don't think Halak is that good of a goaltender, and the Bruins are flying right now, and the Hurricanes are going to send everything at Halak. Tony Mang, if I had a free bet, Birdie says do it in game. No, I'm going to take the 5. I think there could be an early goal here. I don't feel like I need to. What I don't want to have happen is to say, okay, I'll take the over in game and have an early goal scored and be sitting there going, look, I knew there was going to be goals scored. So I hear you. There's no way I bet on the Hurricanes without Jordan Staal. I hear what you're saying, Birdie, but I'm going to be comfortable betting this before the game starts. Okay, Hurricanes, Bruins over 5, minus 135. That's a lot of juice. Reese says the goalie situation is where they have to improve. Yeah, I think they're a good team. Gate Pass Key says, I agree, Jimmy. The over is to play. Both teams will come out on offense, first period and full game over. I'm going to not take the first period over, although I'll need to hit it probably to win it. But just because you know that if it's 3-0 Bruins, then the Canes are going to pull their goalie with 5 minutes left. All right, let's move on to the Coyotes Avalanche. God, I don't know why that fucking Taylor Hall trade got me so excited for this hockey team. For the life of me, I just don't know why. If this total is sitting at 5.5, and if this goes over the total, Arizona's going to lose. Oh, sorry, Tony. If I had a free play, I would take Nets first quarter plus 4, and I still might do it once we go over it one more time. There's Buck Nasty in the house. Buck Nasty. Dired MMA podcast says Coyotes got to keep it low scoring to win. Look, what you're getting from this team is no heart. And Chaika, their no heart general managers, the one who put this shit squad together. They lose Schmaltz and Connor Garland, and now they got to go down to 3 lines. Nathan McKinnon, the Avalanche just say all the right things all the time. Nate says we have to be hungry for Game 5. We have to play desperate, like we're down a game. We have to be ready to close them out in Game 5. Nazem Kadri, what a great pickup that was. Sakic fleeced the Leafs. Nemesnikov's going to miss his 2nd straight game. Burakovsky is expected to play, but he blocked a shot in the 3rd period. Hurt his foot. We'll see. C-Mac says Yotes looks so defeated after the whipping they took. Well, Tockett's going to scream in their face. Whether that's going to do anything, probably not. Colorado opens up at minus 192. They're now minus 220. I'm not going to take Colorado at that number. Dennis Garcia says, why do they continue to bet Montreal? Because they're Canadian. Look, I was fading. I didn't think Montreal was going to get past Pittsburgh. Mr. Gokster, his first period under. That's an interesting look here. But the problem is that that the Coyotes are just about to buckle under this pressure. Birdie says, can we just have a shout out to Dale Howard-Chuck, most underrated superstar in NHL history, great leader, crazy clutch, rest in peace, legend. Great call, Birdie. Absolutely. 57 years old, too young. What a player he was. Dale Howard-Chuck. Youngest player to ever score 100 points as a rookie until Crosby beat him in 2006. Special offensive player who I had the pleasure of watching in person many times in the Pacific Coliseum in our Pacific Division battles, Smythe Division battles back then. Yeah. Clint says, Makes me sad, Jimmy. The 7-1 game broke my little heart. Yeah, it was ugly. Yeah, when the Jets would come to town, Pacific Coliseum, the only chance Canucks ever had to have a win. And also when the Kings came to town. Mr. Gook said Cornwall Royals. Yeah, one of the few Toronto kids that went over and played in the Q. I guess the first period under 1.5 makes sense. The problem is if the Avalanche get one, then the Coyotes got to force everything. Let's just see what it is here quickly. In my book, first period under 1.5 minus 115. Don John has got a money line or got a parlay. If you guys could take a look at it, I got to cap these last 2 games. And Yenny Tune, won last Canadian team Stanley Cup. Yeah, George Wood, 93. 93. And Mr. Gokster grabbed it minus 113. Okay. I expect the Avalanche to win and Coyote season be over. And I expect the Bruins to win and the Hurricane season to be over. But I am on the over 5 and minus 135 in that Carolina-Boston game. Okay, let's move on to Canadiens Flyers right now. And thank you guys for rolling with us. We are at 2 hours and 5 minutes. My apologies. We've gone long. It's so many games. And soon we're not going to have enough games to talk about. So let's just enjoy this while it is. Oh, yeah. Gate pass key. Paul McLean's heartbroken. Yeah, Paul McLean, great guy. Canadiens Flyers. I don't know how. I agree with Dennis. I don't know how people are still betting the Habs. But I look at this Flyers roster and I'm like, how are they so good? And that's a good sign. But I'm like, how are they so good? Flyers open up at minus 140. That's where they stand right now. This total sitting at 5. There's no goals being scored in this. Mr. Gross says soon we'll have the Derby. You're absolutely right. Thank you, C-Mac. And Connor Mack making his Betting with the Bag debut this Friday. Connor Mack will be rolling with us. George Wood says media here in Montreal turning on Gallagher for his comments. I was surprised. I didn't think they were that bad. Oh, Kevin Linebeer, you're a good man. They didn't think they were that bad, but I was surprised that he spoke up. It was interesting to see him sit. I am not surprised that Drouin was sat, but I was a little surprised that Gallagher was sat. They played 2 shifts in the first half of the third period and didn't see the ice again for the rest of the game. In a game where they needed offense so badly. Gallagher now has 34 shots on goal without scoring in the postseason. And they're completely shutting down that Suzuki Tatar Gallagher line. Yeah, I agree, Gabe Pesky. I'm not a Druin fan. Brady says, I'm really close to pulling the trigger on a Habs series plus 1,200. The Flyers have scored 5 goals. The series can flip on a dime. I'm still riding the Habs. The Flyers have a 4% power play. I don't think Montreal is that good of a hockey team. And look, Hart's been spectacular. Vigneault's pressing all the right buttons. He sits JVR. Bunneman and Farabee draw into the lineup. Hart's just rolling right now. I can understand why anybody would back the Flyers in this game. I questioned Birdie when he said similar things about the Penn series, and I was wrong. Nikolai Jubinski is going for them to go into overtime. That's an interesting look, Nikolai. Look, I'm not going to – the Canadiens they just get me. They've got me for a couple years now. I mean, God, last year I had $500 on their point total under. Ugh. All right, let's move on to Canucks Blues. And there's a problem here. And Vancouver fans all feel it. The Blues outshot us 37-23 in the last game. They played much better than us. They're a tougher team to play than us. They're bigger. And now we take out Tyler Myers and Tyler Toffoli from the lineup, and the only hope we have is when we get on the power play. We're nervous. The Blues don't have Tarasenko, but they just need to physically push us around. And they're not even as big as they were last year. St. Louis opens up at minus 130. They're now minus 140. Reese says Blues have found it. Dennis Garcia says St. Louis will end this in a couple of days. Well, George Wood says Nucks best Canadian team right now. At least you got that. Jacob says Blues have the momentum. The Canucks have to get on the power play and have to force the power play. Yenny Toon says, talking about the Blues, love the way they showed up last game. They were just a much better team than us. And their penalty killing was strong. They're just a good hockey team. Mr. Go says Pettersson's best player on the ice. He's still playing well. But getting Binnington out of the goal, Berube, there's been some coaches that have been just so good. There's the Vigneaults, and Craig Berube's been spectacular. There's our Boston Nick in the house. Great to see you. Dan Panko says Flyers lead the league in faceoffs, have good depth, good young defense, and Carter Hart. And yeah, there's no doubt that I need to see this young defense and respect them more because they're a good hockey team. Brady says Blues are an elite championship team. No negative for the Canucks at all. They're just not there yet. Cuban Connect was on the Sparks -6 play today. I can understand anybody who would be betting on the Blues. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I've got to wake up so early to prep, and I've got to work at night, so I don't even know. Like, if these late games are tough to watch, and especially when the Canucks are getting beaten up. Mr. Ghoster says, I think it's an under game. Well, if it's an under game, the Canucks are going to lose. If goals are being scored, the Canucks can win, and they can't go 0 for 7 on the man advantage. Shogun Soup, I don't think you should ever do that. I don't think you should ever go plus in hockey. If anything, you want to lessen the juice, never increase it. George Wood said Avs Islanders final. George, wasn't that, the grade 8, how lucky are we that we get to watch Ovechkin, but the Islanders looked so much better than the Capitals after the first period, and the Caps came back. When I was going over the Islanders roster last night, watching them and after that first period be so good, and they just, every player on that forward, that 12-man group is useful. And there's so few teams like that. Mr. Go said Travis Green versus Berube is tough. Oh, Cuban Connect Allen's going to be in goal. No doubt about that. Allen will be in net. And don't forget with that Hurricanes-Bruins game, if the Hurricanes manage to squeak out a win, they play tomorrow in Game 6. They play tomorrow in Game 6. All right, the only look, I might live in play this Columbus game on the Jackets, but I'm going to watch it. The only bet I have in NHL is Hurricanes-Bruins over 5. Those of you who are backing the teams that could eliminate, I understand why you are. Jimmy Gomez says NHL play today for me is Lightning under 5. Ryan Kozlowski said I'm a huge Oz fan, but they're not going anywhere if their power play doesn't start scoring. Yeah, I get that for sure. But if you look at their defense, without Boychuk, they don't have that guy, to really anchor that power play. But I get it. There you guys go. That was a long show. Thank you guys for sticking with us. And let's go over everything right now. And we have nothing without you guys in the chat to make this show so special. We're going to go baseball, basketball, hockey. In basketball, hockey, I'm only on one bet each at this point. Okay, Blue Jays, first 5 over 5.5. That game starts soon. I'm doubling up on the Phillies and Arrieta and the Red Sox to keep losing. And Ryan Kozlowski says Boychuk is benched, but the only place you want him is on the power play. I thought. And isn't he playing hurt? I thought he was. Is he being benched because of bad play or hurt? I'm going to take the under 6 in Cardinals-Cubs game 1. It's going to be the first doubleheader that I bet all year. Then I'm doubling up on the Yankees. I see value with Cole. First 5 -1/2, full game -1. Then Tigers first 5 at plus money with Casey Mize. The Bruins Twins, I'm going right back to the first 5 under bell. And George Wood says Boychuk's not good enough anymore. Interesting. And Ryan Kozlowski, he's available. Wow. Astros Rockies first 5 under 7. That's the play of the day from our Nolly Knows. And George says that's how deep the aisles are. Rangers first 5. There's another plus money first 5 spot. Another. Diamondbacks first 5. So I've got 3 first 5 plus money spots, which is exciting. That's my MLB card. In NBA, I'm interested in the Nets first quarter plus 4. I really am. I just think 4 is too many points. I just think it's too many points. It's dangerous betting against my team. Let's see what it is now. Yeah, 4. Too many points. All right, I'm taking the Nets first quarter plus 4. Swervin says don't do it. Viper NB said don't do it. I just think after getting destroyed the way they did, that they're going to come out really sharp early. And if they hit a few threes, I'm on Nets first quarter plus 4, and I'm on Embiid. Oh, wow. Nilo's on Nets first quarter money line. Jeez. I'm on Embiid over 16.5 rebounds and assists. And then I only have one look in NHL, the over 5 at -135 in Hurricanes Bruins. All righty. That is our show for today. Join us tomorrow where we'll be joined by Babano in the house. A1 Sasha just means first 5 innings. First 5 innings. And A1 Sasha, we do that so that we don't have the bullpens come into effect. Love you guys so much. Matt Randall, Christopher Comentini, Shy Archie, Shogun Soup, Viper NB, A1 Sasha, Nilo, John Katzelnick, Swervin, Leo Leon, Matt Janning, Mr. Wisdom, Kevin Linebeer, Tony Mang, Yenny Toon, Die Hard MMA Podcast, George Wood, Birdie, Buzznuts, Boston Nick Kanaskat, Cuban Connect, Brandon Lugo, Mark Unkefer. Let's have a day today. Coming off a winning day yesterday, 5-3, 1.45 units. I got lazy in NHL. Cost me an incredible day. Let's keep winning. Jordan Fist, Kobe Fist, Lecce, Halos Bookmakers. Get paid in full. Babano on tomorrow.